This project will be a quick and simple cell phone holder for your tripod. The tripod, on the top of it, has a 1/4-20 threaded post that sticks out, and that threads into your camera or your cell phone holder that you normally would have. So in order to make one of these, or you could go buy one, the current one I'm using on my tripod is actually a store-bought one, but I made them in the past and lost them. But the current one I'm going to make is going to be out of a piece of this 2x6. You can use a 2x4, it's probably all you need. I've got a T-nut, which is a 1/4-20 threaded nut that will hammer into a hole drilled in the piece of wood and just give me metal threads in the wooden material. I've got a couple of hair ties, and that's about it. I'm going to use my table saw and my drill press probably for this project. The first thing I'm going to do is cut out my piece of wood that I need. I measured my cell phone. I need only about 4 inches wide. I've got a Samsung S8 in an OtterBox case, so it's about 3 1/4 tall. So I'll want, whatever the height of my cell phone is, I want to minus about 1/2 inch off of that width, and then I'll want to add about 1 inch back to it for the base of this piece. So if I take 1/2 inch off of that 3 1/4, then I've got 2 3/4, and then I'll add another inch. So I've got 3 3/4. I want to cut off by 4. So I'm going to set up my table saw and cut that out. So now I've got my block 3 3/4 by 4 inches. I'm going to go into this block, and I'm going to set my table saw with about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of depth, and I'm going to cut a notch into the side, and then I'm going to come into this side and cut up to that notch so that I have a square cutout into my plate here, into my chunk of wood. So it turns out that my table saw blade only goes up 2.5 inches. So the max height that I can have on this piece here is 2.5, because I have to come in here and notch this out. So because I've got 2 5/8, or 7/8, I'll have to cut off 3/8 of an inch in order to be able to get this chunk of wood out. So I'm going to cut about 1/2 inch off, and that should do the job. I'm going to measure this distance here. I've got 3/4 of an inch, and I want that distance to be the distance to the inside of my blade off of my fence. And there we have our piece. Nicely notched here, nice vertical edge here. Now the last bit to do is we're going to put a couple of notches on each side of this to hold our rubber bands. They're not strictly necessary, but they help out so that they just stay where you want them. And then we're going to put the mount for the tripod on the bottom. At the final step here, well, not quite the final step, but close, is I need to drill a hole for my T-nut in the end of this block. So I'm going to make sure my drill press is set in a good position. I've got the block marked for center, and this is a 9/30 seconds drill bit, and I'm going to drill a hole into the end of this block. I just don't want to go all the way through. And that's just the hole for that is a little bit tight on here, and I tested that by drilling a hole in this and then testing it there. And there we have it. Now we can take and we can put this into the end of this piece. I think I'll try to do it in the vise here, and we'll see if we can do it. Now I'll probably end up breaking it that way, so I'll do it by hand, and I'll show you once it's all put together. So here we go. Here's our finished item. Sorry about the lighting; it's getting a little dark on me here. I've got the T-nut mounted in there. I've used some sanding block here just to clean this up a little bit so it's not rough around the edges, and I'll show you how it mounts up to the tripod. The tripod has got a 1/4-20 top on it. This is my normal tripod that I work with, and that just threads right on there, clean as can be. Okay. So now that that's mounted up there nicely, I've got my wife's cell phone here, and Just realized something. Probably want to put your rubber bands on first before you mount to the tripod. So now that I got it on there, I'm just going to take and put the cell phone into the holder with the camera facing out. So now you can see that I've got a nicely mounted, very secure camera holder. And that's it. Very simple. Thanks for watching.